Hello everyone, welcome to this virtual celebration of Hanukkah with the Israel Tourist Office. The coronavirus has wreaked havoc on the world and badly affected travel and tourism to some of our favorite destinations. We are still weeks and months away from any form of normality, but we do still have some things to celebrate. Hanukkah is the Jewish festival of light and is celebrated every year by Jews around the world along with their families. As Boris Johnson said this week, there surely isn't a better festival than Hanukkah if kids get presents every day for 8 days. But I'm going to leave talking about the festival to others during this event. So today's agenda is as follows. First, we will receive a welcome from Sharon Ehrlich-Beshadsky, Director of the Israel Tourist Office in the UK, who will introduce us to why we're here today and give a brief update on the situation regarding travel to Israel. Then we will hear a funny retelling of the Hanukkah story by award-winning comedian Philip Simon. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the holiday armadillo this year. Then we will show a short video of Itzik Kadosh producing donuts in the world-famous Kadosh bakery in Jerusalem, which was recorded a few days before the bakery was inundated with people wanting to eat them. This will be followed by a short Q&A section with Sharon and Itzik, so if you have any questions, please place them in the Q&A section, which you will see below. So, let's begin with an introduction to Sharon Ehrlich-Beshadsky, Director of the Israel Tourist Office here in the UK. Sharon has been the director here in London for just under 4 years. She previously worked in the Ministry of Tourism in Jerusalem on the European desk, handling projects that included facilitating the management of Israel's aviation agreements, and is now here to give us a brief update on the current situation regarding travel to Israel. Over to you, Sharon.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. Hanukkah Sameach. Happy Hanukkah. And thank you for joining us to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah. In Israel and in many Jewish homes around the world, families will be gathering in their home or via Zoom to feel the warmth of the holiday and remember the miracle that took place in Jerusalem in ancient times. I've been in London, like Howard said before, almost 4 years, and I love so many aspects of life here. Hanukkah is one of the festivals that really makes me think on Israel and the holiday spirit that we won't be able to share, like the smell of Sufganiyot and Levivot going through the streets, being invited to 15 different Hanukkah parties and in only 8 days of the holiday, or seeing all of the children going back from nursery in the street with like a little carton candle on their head. It's one of my favorite holidays and I'm glad to share it with you. As some of you know, Israel has been closed to incoming tourism for more than 9 months. Similar to the majority of destinations, we had to take drastic measures of shutting our border to manage the COVID pandemic. This action was taken to protect both visitors and residents, as safety is always was and always will be #1 priority. After the first wave, Israel resumed for domestic travel by using what we now call the purple standard of the purple badge. This is like the Israeli version of many others, like many others in the world. This standard was developed and implemented through the hospitality sector, and things like pre-packed breakfast, hand gels, online pre-booking, temperature checking, masks, just being part of our life now. Later on, we saw it coming back again in the second wave, which currently, hopefully behind us. And hopefully we won't need to see everything going back again because of some very good news of the vaccine. And talking about the vaccine, you know, working in the tourism sector, I feel we have to be very, very optimistic all the time, especially now as Israel, like I said, signed a deal to receive the coronavirus vaccine. The first batch arrived to Ben Gurion Airport yesterday, the second one today. So I'm very happy to say that soon it would, in a pace of more than 60,000 people a day, starting later on in December, the population will be vaccinated. We've also seen important improvements in the Ben Gurion Airport. So they created an on-site COVID testing clinic to ensure all arrivals are tested to help the country remain safe. In recent weeks, we've seen the Zimmers and the kibbutzim coming back to life as well, accepting domestic travelers, while the hotels in Eilat and the Dead Sea area were declared as green islands. I'm sure we'll see more ups and definitely maybe downs until the whole population will be vaccinated, but the direction is very clear. things are looking better. It's also important to remember that 2020 has not been all bad. In September, we welcomed the signing of the Abraham Accords, which has normalized relations between Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain. Once tourism can start again, we look forward to welcoming the people of these countries to visit, and as well Israelis will be able to go there. Some Israeli already started to do so. We are also pleased that so many airlines continue in some level to operate the flights to Israel during all of these long months. So for us, it's a real vote of confidence. The Israeli travel industry is a creative and resilient one. It's a tough word in English. It has come through many challenges in the past, and together with the Ministry of Tourism has been successful in achieving record numbers of tourists visiting Israel with a record year in 2019. So we are aiming to go back to those numbers while putting more emphasis in 2021 on health and safety, sustainability, and developing and promoting more experiences in Israel for the incoming tourists with a focus on outdoor activities. Israel is blessed with almost year-round sunshine, which leads to an outdoor lifestyle where social distancing comes just easily. We understand that there is now a huge desire for fresh air, good health, and opportunities to connect with friends and family. And for all this, Israel is the ideal holiday spot. Another emphasis that it never gets old is the incredible food Israel has to offer. From Tel Aviv as the vegan revolution hotspot to incredible street food and market stall pushing traditional food, and to the creative, stylish chef restaurants that are getting world recognition in recent years. When all the above is combined with an Israeli population who love to welcome visitors, visiting Israel is truly a unique and memorable experience. At the end of the day, what makes me optimistic for 21 is Israel itself. People are using the time to dream up a big bucket list trip. And I truly believe Israel is this ideal and at least once in a lifetime destination that people will add to their list, full of unique experiences, history, award-winning wines, incredible food, outdoor attractions, and wonderful weather. Last, I do not know to give the accurate opening date, unfortunately, for our borders, but rest assured, me and my team are here to feed you with any news or stories to come in the meantime. I'm wishing you and your families a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy and healthy New Year. We hope to see you all next year in Israel.
Thank you very much for that update, Sharon. Now, moving on to our next section, we're going to hear the story of Hanukkah now, told in a comical way by a comedian who prides himself on being one of the leading Jewish comedians in the UK. Philip Simon is a former Jewish Comedian of the Year and has written for and worked on TV shows such as Mock the Week and Taskmaster. He's the co-host of Jewish podcast Jew Talking to Me and creator of the Schools Out Comedy Club, whose joke books some of you will have received in your gift box. So here to give us a fresh way of looking at the Hanukkah story, here's Philip Simon.
Thanks, Howard. You know, if there's one thing Jews love, it's a festival. And if there's another thing we love, it's a convoluted story as to how that festival came into being, especially if that story fits in with one of the most classic Jewish jokes. They tried to kill us, we won, let's eat. And we do love to eat. So when it comes to festival, there's always food, however tenuous the connection. So at Passover, we tell the story of how we were slaves in Egypt, and because the Israelites didn't have time for their bread to rise before fleeing, we now eat unleavened bread, matzah. I mean, we had time to allow every drop of the waters of the Red Sea to part because we weren't getting our shoes wet for anyone, but compromising our baking times to make a burst for freedom, not a problem. Thank goodness Paul Hollywood wasn't there to judge. At Shavuot, we celebrate the giving of the Torah to Moses at Mount Sinai, and for some reason that means we laud dairy products, so we eat cheesecake, which is ironic given the number of Jews who are lactose intolerant. And who can forget the story of Purim, where the dreaded villain Haman failed in his attempt to kill all the Jews, so we rejoice by eating triangular biscuits called Haman Tushan, or Oznei Haman, which literally translate as Haman's ears. And then we come to Hanukkah, a festival that most Jews have grown up vaguely knowing the story to. There was a battle, we won, so we ate. Of course, there's more to it than that, so sit back and let's enjoy the story of Hanukkah. It all happened around 200 BC, so about 2,500 years ago. Now, to put that into context, 2,000 years ago, lockdown started. But really, this was a very long time ago when the land of Israel was ruled by a terrible king called Antiochus Epiphanes, who really didn't like Jews. I mean, you'd think with a name like Epiphanes, we'd have seen it coming. But nevertheless, he was king and he counted many Jews among his subjects. Jews who, just like so many of us today, lived their lives according to Jewish customs and traditions, though presumably fewer of them parked around the corner of their shuls on Rosh Hashanah or sneakily watched Match of the Day on Shabbat afternoon. Our Jewish ancestors worshipped at the ancient temple in the city of Jerusalem, the holiest of holy places, the centre of Jewish life. But King Antiochus didn't like the fact his subjects followed different religions and cultures. He wanted all the people of his land to live according to Greek customs. Now, I've had a quick look online to see what Greek customs meant, but apart from smashing plates at parties and tanking the economy, you don't want to know what I found. Under his rule, Jewish practices were completely abolished. Shabbat, festivals, Diet Coke, but perhaps worst of all, Antiochus took over the holy temple, filling it with idols and altars to Greek gods inside. But one group of brave Jews decided this was not okay. They wouldn't worship foreign gods or give up their Jewish way of life and were determined to take back their temple and defend their religious freedom. They were the Maccabees, led at first by a man named Mattathias and then later by his son Judah. The Maccabees, they were small in number but mighty in spirit, and against all odds, they were victorious over the king's army. The temple was once again in Jewish hands, surely a time for celebration. But the Maccabees were heartbroken to see how the king had desecrated their holy space. They cleansed and purified every inch of the temple, removing all the king's idols and altars. And then on the 25th day of the Jewish month of Kislev, the Maccabees held a glorious rededication ceremony. And the word Hanukkah actually means dedication. Made famous, of course, in 1973 by record breakers and Roy Castle. But long before that, it described the moment when the temple was triumphantly returned to the Jewish people. Now, I can tell what you're thinking. How does any of that mean the festival lasts for 8 days? Why don't we just celebrate the 25th of Kislev and be done with it? Well, in the Talmud, our holy scriptures, we read that when the Maccabees liberated the temple, they wanted to light the menorah, the branched lamp, but they only found enough oil to light it for 1 day. But miraculously, that small amount of oil lasted for 8 days, which is coincidentally exactly how long it took to get new oil delivered. Now, don't forget, this was a long time ago, long before Amazon Prime. So, to honour this miracle, we now light 8 candles on the Hanukkah, which is a slightly larger menorah. We spin a dreidel whose letters remind us Nes Gadol Haya Sham, a great miracle happened there. Or if you're in Israel, Nes Gadol Haya Po, a great miracle happened here. We give and receive chocolate gelt and other presents because, well, I guess that's what happens with a December festival, and because of the importance to the story of oil and the lack of before Christ awareness of cholesterol, we traditionally eat fried food such as latkes or hash browns, and of course, donuts. You know, sometimes I think it's hard to think about these things as they would have thousands of years ago, so it might help to think about Hanukkah in more modern context. Lately, the most famous of which has been to imagine you've lost your charger and your iPhone is telling you there's only enough battery life to last 1 night. But by some miracle, it lasted 8. Or perhaps you might think modern day political wranglings would be done and dusted in 1 year. but by some inverse miracle, we'll still be negotiating Brexit 8 years later. Of course, there are modern interpretations of the Hanukkah story, and perhaps the most famous one was seen in a little-known documentary about a group of good mates living in New York City back in the 90s. Each week, this fly-on-the-wall documentary charted the lives of Jews and non-Jews, these pals, buddies, friends, if you will. And anyone who saw this show would know that it wouldn't be a modern telling of the Hanukkah story without the phrase, "the holiday armadillo," where we recall the time that Ross Geller taught us the true meaning of Hanukkah. Years ago, there were these people called the Maccabees, and the miracle was that that little bit of oil that should have lasted just one day burned for 8 days. And that's why the holiday armadillo, your part Jewish friend, is a friend of Santa's. Now, you're looking at me in disbelief, but there's more to it. You see, for years, Jews have celebrated Hanukkah on different days in December. Not just because the Gregorian and the Jewish calendar don't align, but also because, as any devout person knows, thanks to the undisputed teachings of Rabbi Chandler Bing, if Santa and the holiday armadillo are ever in the same room for too long, the universe will implode. Merry Christmas! All right, so I might have mixed up my facts. So bear with me while I skip over the improbable parts, like the section where Rabbi Bing reminds us of his favorite part of the Hanukkah story, which is when Superman flew all the Jews out of Egypt. You get the gist. So that's the story of Hanukkah. But what does it mean to me? And why is Israel such an important part of my Hanukkah story? Well, for one thing, I'm a Hanukkah baby. I spent my first Hanukkah birthday in Israel. Also, did you know that traditionally Jewish people who live outside Israel have Hebrew names? They're only used really ceremonially, like on your bar mitzvah or wedding certificate, and can usually be a good way of keeping random relatives happy because you've managed to include the memory of a loved one when naming your child. I've got a Hebrew name. It's actually my birthday next week. That's not important. I'm not telling you to get more presents or anything, but just so you know, I was born in December during Hanukkah, so you'd think my Hebrew name would be something appropriate like Judah or Maccabee or, heck, I don't know, even Latkes. But no. For some reason, in their wisdom, my parents saw fit to name their latest child, born in the middle of the Festival of Lights, as the name of a festival. But not the festival they were celebrating at the time, no. Not even a different festival of lights like Diwali. They decided to go with Pesach. That's right. My Hebrew name isn't the more obvious Hanukkah, it's Pesach. Now, I've mentioned it already, but if you weren't aware, then Pesach is more widely known as a festival which we celebrate around about March or April and vaguely translates as Passover, which is a terrible name for a third child, especially when 13 months later, a fourth child came along. How am I supposed to feel? I was born in December during Hanukkah, so why is my name Pesach? I mean, that was literally 9 months before. Oh, never mind. Anyway, as a child, I grew up going to Israel. We had a lot of family there, and as I mentioned, I spent my first and many other birthdays there celebrating Hanukkah. I remember when I was about 9 going with my whole family to enjoy Hanukkah. We started with my aunt, uncle and cousins in Herzliya before all heading south to Eilat, or what we soon came to realise was better known as North London by the sea. I remember driving through cities and towns, seeing Hanukkah decorations up on lampposts and shop windows as vibrantly as we'd see Christmas decorations here in Regent Street or Selfridges. They seemed to get less obvious as we drove through the Negev desert and neared Eilat, but once we checked into our apartments and set out our Hanukkah, we felt ready for our festive break. Not used to winter in the sun, we rushed down to the pool and were amazed to see life-size festive decorations. But not for Hanukkah, these were all for Christmas. We swam in a pool overlooked by a huge inflatable Santa. And later that afternoon, I had my first meeting with the man himself. Red suit, big bushy beard, and a belly like a bowl full of jelly. His breath smelt of falafel and Turkish coffee, and he spoke with a thick Arabic accent, which seemed a little off-brand from what I'd seen on TV, but having never met him before, maybe this was actually authentic. So I love Hanukkah, one of my favourite festivals, and something I love about being Jewish. It connects me with my family, but more importantly, with Israel. It's not about the presents, though try telling that to my 6 and 3-year-olds. It's not even about the donuts, the Latkes, the chocolate money, though again, good luck telling that to my 6 and 3-year-olds. It's about a story we tell, about a miracle that saw a drop of oil lasting for 8 nights rather than 1. So that is my take on Hanukkah. I hope you've learned something from it. I hope it's entertained you. When I was asked to put this presentation together, I thought, yeah, sure, I could fill a few minutes talking about Hanukkah. And then what do you know? A miracle. I made it last 10. Thanks very much, and Hag Hanukkah Sameach.
Great. Thank you very much, Philip. I hope you all enjoyed that telling of the Hanukkah story and brief update on what it's like to be Jewish and eat a lot of food by the sound of things. Talking of food, yeah, we've talked about food quite a lot in this event so far. Now, Hanukkah is synonymous with one specific type of food. We have talked about Latkes, we've talked about all sorts of different things, but the one thing that is very, very popular, not just in Israel, but around the world for anyone celebrating Hanukkah, are Sufganiyot, or donuts. And in Israel, they go mad for them during this festival. So the other day, we called in on Itzik Kadosh from the world-famous Kadosh bakery in Jerusalem, and we produced this video about how busy it gets for them at this time of the year.
Hello, everybody. Now we are in Kadosh bakery, pastry. We are we close to Hanukkah holiday, and we're making donuts here. Donuts, it's our Sufganiyot. We call it Sufganiyot. We fry the dough, and then we fill it with different kind of creams. Kadosh, it's a place that's opened in 1967. It's opened before the 6 Days War. And my father opened this place. He was a baker since he was 13 years old. And when he opened this place, he was, after that, he ran other places in Jerusalem more than 20 years. And since then, this place is open. I joined the place in 1999. And we developed the place, me and my wife. So now it's one of the best quality bakery pastry in Israel, and it's an institute in Jerusalem. So now we are in the small bakery. We're making donuts here today. And you see that we fry the donuts, but in the bakery, we're not doing only donuts. We have here different kind of stuff. Like you call it babka, you see? Every Friday, we do a lot of babkas. This one is with chocolate, we have with cheese, we have different kind of babkas. A lot of people come only because of this stuff to buy it, to take home for Shabbat or for holidays. And if you will see over there, בוא נראה להם רגע, תמשיך את זה רגע. You will see the shape that the donuts and the filling that we put. We have a confiserie, it's a marshmallow all over the donut with the cream. And now she's making holes inside. מה את הולכת למלות לנו פה? So now we will be filling with one with chocolate, one with caramel. And if you can see the donut, we wrap it with a lot of sugar. It's like a Moroccan sphinx. So we combine two kind of donuts. The donuts that it was usually like this, but we put it on the backside that it will stand up. And we fill a lot of sugar on it. And people love this donut. As you can see, this is cremant chocolate. We have to prepare it before and to let it be in the fridge for a long, long time because it has to be very cold before we put the donuts, and also need to wait until the donuts will also not be. We cannot fill them right after they go from the oil. We need to let them also to be a little bit cold. So now we put a lot of cream. We have raspberry, we have almonds, we have chocolate, we have chestnut, pistachio, different kind of cream, and with confiserie on top. But look here, I want you to see how much filling you have inside. It's come like that. Somebody want to taste? Now, before Hanukkah, we're making like 600, 800, but in Hanukkah, it's growing up each day. It's gonna be 1 week before Hanukkah, it's gonna be 1,000, 2,000, and then it's go up. We're gonna do only Sufganiyot in this time. All Jerusalem and only Israel. All over there's Sufganiyot. Each bakery is doing different kind of donuts. Different kind and different topping, but it's all over Israel. It's only donuts. It's like, that's what they sell in bakeries. Any kind of filling that we feel and we like, and we think like we're making an eclair, the same feeling that you have in different kind of eclair or mousses or other pastries, we put inside the donuts. But there's not something special only for Hanukkah. Usually it's only the jam, but we don't do it a lot. We don't put a lot of filling, I mean, different kind of texture in one sufganiyah. It's only you have one filling. So if you have chocolate, it's going to be only with chocolate. And then I will put truffles on top. איפה הטראפלס שלנו? You see? Like I told you, each donut gets a confiserie, something sweet on top. Before we had the marshmallow raspberry, now we have truffles on the chocolate. But I will finish this. Okay, as you can see now here is a pistachio. This one is raspberry, and this one is raspberry, sorry. This one is cherry donuts. But I want you to see, before Hanukkah, we do a lot of pastries. You see, this is the variety that we do now. Different kind of croissants, different kind of danishes. For Hanukkah, we're gonna be a donut place. The line outside, you can see. Look, this is the menu for the donuts now. Wait. This is the donut book that we just print, and we sell it over here. We sell more than 2,000 books in one day. וחבר'ה, see you all in Jerusalem next year.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Itzik. I'm just reading all the comments that are coming in. Everyone's like desperate to eat some of that. Where can we get it in London? You can't, I'm afraid. Kadosh is a world-renowned bakery in Jerusalem. You have to go to Jerusalem to have it, and you have to have those donuts at Hanukkah. Right, we have actually got Itzik live with us now from the bakery in Jerusalem. So we're going to ask him a couple of questions. We're also going to ask Sharon a couple of questions too. If you've got any questions that you want to ask for yourself, and please put them into the Q&A section while we're doing this. I can see there's a question there actually. Can you get the donut book in the UK? And in fact, let's just ask him that question first. Itzik, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? So I do have other questions, but I've literally just been asked, can you get your donut book in the UK?
Now we are trying to sell it over abroad. We have a store here next to me. They call the Marcus, and they will sell it outside. People can order it from the internet or from our website, yep, and they will ship it over there.
But I think it's only now it's only in Hebrew.
Next year it's going to be in English, but there's a lot of people who ordered it abroad, Jewish people who read Hebrew, and they want the book also.
Good. That's good to know. A couple of people have
So
just
we're
said that they're
gonna
going to.
ship it with the others.
Excellent. Well, a couple of people just said that they'll brush up on their
Yeah.
Hebrew just so that they can get the book and enjoy the delicacies. We keep losing you, but just very quickly, we did that video the other day, before Hanukkah really came along. How is it going in terms of selling the Sufganiyot now? What's been the best seller so far?
First of all, today it's like working in Hell's Kitchen here, because we are from 4 o'clock in the morning, and I will go out with the telephone that you will see. There's still a line outside, more than 100 meters outside. People are always coming back and they waiting more than 1 hour to buy donuts. Like I said before, it's a mania donuts here today. And in the morning, what we are put down with a tray of donuts, they're like running out 2 minutes, there's nothing. We were running out of time to prepare them, and people were buying them so fast. So we are more than 12 people who work here since the morning only for donuts. And any donuts that you're gonna bring them down, it's a bestseller. They don't care, they just want the donuts.
Excellent. We've got people here saying, "Can you deliver them to the UK, please?" But I don't think you're going to have to go to Jerusalem. You can't have them in the UK. It's just not the same. Just another question: where is the recipe from, or is it a closely guarded secret?
No, we just put the recipe in the book, but the recipe is combining old and new, because I took the recipe from my father. He opened this place. It was an old recipe, but we changed a little bit stuff over there with the ingredients, and the donuts now it's looking like a sphinge, a Moroccan sphinge. Everything inside is with butter, so it's dairy. It's not parve, and we put a lot of alcohol inside. I don't know if I explained that before in the video, but the alcohol don't let the oil, when the oil is very hot, it's like telling the oil, you cannot go inside the donuts. We want the donuts without a lot of oil inside. So it's only fried from the outside, not from the inside. There's nothing coming out in. So this is also a one trick that we teaching the people over there in the book. And there's not only the how do you say, the recipe for the donuts. We gave also other recipes that all the filling, all the marmalade, all the decoration that we do. So people can work not only for donuts, for other cakes, also for croissants, also for big pastries that they want to do in other holidays. Like you said before, in Israel, every holiday, it's about food. In Hanukkah, we do donuts. Especially in bakeries, we work hard only in holidays. It's like the peak in our life. We are maintaining a very good quality and work all the year, but in the holidays, it's go up. Only for cakes, only for food. It's always like that. Yeah. So we gave like the recipe that people can.
You do lots of cheesecake for Shavuot, I assume, then, yes?
More than 15 recipes of other cheesecake that we do here. Each Chag, each holiday, we do a lot of variety of different kind of cakes that it's only for the holiday.
Excellent. Okay. Well, everyone suddenly got very excited because you talked about alcohol and donuts at the same time. So they're all getting excited about, boozy donuts, they're calling them here. But I think it's quite clear that
we put a lot of brandy inside.
A lot of brandy. Yes. Yep. Let's go. Immediately. One last question before I've got some quite important questions to ask of Sharon about generally about Israel. But so obviously this isn't a normal Hanukkah this year. Things are slightly different. Would you say that you've noticed much of a change this year in terms of the amount of people coming to buy food, or is it exactly the same as it normally is?
Yeah. No, it's it's different from the other holidays because people were closed all this year, more more than 120 days. They were closing their houses. They didn't see their families. They saw only the small family that they live within, but not their grandparents, their aunts and other families and friends. So now people are coming out and they like desiring to buy food and to buy a lot. They're waiting on the line and they say, if I wait so much, I don't take a 6-pack, I will take 2 dozen. They take a lot of Sufganiyot, and you see that usually people were buying less than other years, but now they are getting wild.
Yeah, well, that's good. You know, they're planning ahead, but they're still buying the same amount of food, I think. Of course, absolutely, and we all wish that we could come over there immediately. Maybe next year, we'll do a group press trip next year, Sharon, I think. So we've actually been asked a question, which I'm now going to ask you.
I hope everybody will come to Israel.
Yes, I hope we all will. We'll do a massive group. Anyone who's here today will be invited on that group press trip, I think. We'll see. So the questions come in, Sharon, from Farida at National Geographic Traveller. Where are some of the best places to try Israeli food here in London?
Oh, wow. I can only talk from personal experience, right? Hi, Farida. Let's see. Balabaya is a great place. Iran is an Israeli chef, and he's really bringing the Israeli spirit to his restaurant. The Good Egg and Honey & Co. both presenting Mediterranean, but basically a lot of Israeli style food. There's a lot of Israeli dishes that you can find there. Ottolenghi brings a lot of Israeli elements to his food. Obviously, he's Israeli originally. What else? Delamina, I heard really good things about it. And there's the whole Barbary group from Chef Asaf Grani. He's Israeli, so they opened the Barbary and the Palomar, the Call Office. So all of this group is really, really good, bringing great, maybe more Jerusalem style food to the table. And the last restaurant I heard really good review, but didn't try it yet, is Oren, O-R-E-N. That's an Israeli name.
Excellent. And some people have been putting some links in there. So Kimberly Butler from City AM has put a link for Balabaya if you want to have a look at that. So thanks for that. Let's talk about journalists and how they can get involved with promoting Israel. You know, at the moment it's quite difficult, of course, because borders are closed, etc. But when do you think you might? I mean, we just joked about having a group press trip. I hope people realize that was a joke. But we will, apparently no, it's a real group press trip. All 48 of us, we're going to go. Right. When do you think press trips might be able to start again?
For us as the tourist board, this is the most important thing we can do. Just because you guys are here, I'm saying it, but because you are a reflection, a mirror, a tool for us to spread the word of what's going on in our destination. For us as a tourist board, this is the #1 thing to do, is to bring back the press trip without any second thought about it. So the moment we'll be even thinking about opening Israel again, hopefully, if you're thinking about the vaccines, all of the population majority will be vaccinated during December, January. So hopefully no later than the end of Q1, we'll be reaching out to have everyone back to press trips. This is the best way to explore the destinations, although we've done a lot online, and this is part of it, but there's nothing like the real destination. And I promise you, next press trip, Jerusalem and Itzik.
Definitely, we're all there. One final question. When Israel opens up again, do you think that there is any specific part of the country that will pick up quicker than others?
In the past 3 years or so, we've been pushing a lot Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, 2 cities, 1 break. The 2 cities that really less than 1 hour driving between them and very worlds apart, but lots to offer. I don't think anyone will be ever tired from Tel Aviv and Jerusalem because it has so much to offer. So I can assume those 2 cities will be the first to pick up among tourists, mainly from the UK, as I noticed. A lot of the UK tourists love going and staying in hotels around Tel Aviv and maybe doing a day trips to Jerusalem, although Itzik here will advocate to stay more, and there's a good reason for it. But alongside this, as I said before, the outdoors it's just calling to not just the Israelis, because we know it, we love it. Every Saturday we packed our cars with our kids and our stuff and just go hiking and traveling and making picnics next to, well, everywhere. I think this is the next stage, just to bring the tourists to the outdoors, to the north, to the south, to climb Masada, to float in the Dead Sea. So the outdoors will be bigger than ever, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we look at where we can get open spaces, then people will return a lot quicker. Brilliant. Thank you both very much for that. Lovely to speak to you live, Itzik. You know, we spoke to him live the other day, but we had to catch him while he was making the donuts. We tried to do it now. There wouldn't be any donuts left, so there'd be no point doing it. So thank you very much for joining us now. Hanukkah is all about one particular thing. So now the most important thing about Hanukkah is lighting of the candles. With this being the first night, we should usually only light one candle. So that's all we can do for you for today. So we're going to light, I'm not going to light mine because I'm actually going to do mine with my kids afterwards. So sorry to disappoint you, Matthew Jackson. But Sharon is going to light hers. Now, obviously, those of you who know, anytime you light candles in Judaism, you have to have a blessing. And so Sharon is going to do the blessing, and over to you.
Thank you. So because it's the first night, basically we have 3 blessings. The rest of the nights is only 2. Itzik, if you remember all the blessings, you are more than welcome to join me. I will not sing it. I will just say it if it's okay while I'm lighting the matches, and hopefully just really cross your fingers that the smoke detector in my office will not, you know, start beeping. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle was laughing from the other door. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר חנוכה.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the Hanukkah lights.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם ובזמן הזה.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors in days of old at this season.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God,
Amen.
sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Amen.
Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Levivot to play with, Latkes to eat. And while we are playing, candles are burning low. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago.
So that brings us to the end of this virtual celebration of Hanukkah. We will be lighting candles now for the next 8 nights, right up to the 17th of December. On behalf of Sharon and the team at the Israel Tourist Office in the UK, thank you all for coming. We hope you will write about Israel in the very near future. They will be in touch with you all following this event so that you have their contact details. Thank you also to Philip and Itzik for your valuable input today and for joining us live, Itzik. Also, a massive thank you to Penny Beryl, who produced the gift boxes that some of you have received already. Chag Sameach to you all. I hope you have a safe and happy Hanukkah or Merry Christmas, whichever is your choice of festival. So thank you all for coming.
חג שמח.
חג שמח.
תודה רבה. ביי ביי.
חג שמח.
21.
ביי ביי.